So in this example, we're going to learn a funky way of strumming a blues in the key of E using only 3 chord voicings. The chord voicings are 3-note grips, and the real challenge here is in how we strum the chords. And by the way, you may notice how this is very similar to Stevie Ray Vaughan's Mary Had a Little Lamb. It sounds like this. So this is a very useful technique, and it's a lot of fun to play. It may seem very easy when you see someone playing this, but it can be tricky because it's very rhythmic. Now let's look at the 3 chord voicings and the chord progression first. The first grip is this one. We're on the A string for the first note here, and it consists of the root, the major third, and the minor 7th. It's a very useful chord grip for dominant 7 chord. So this is an E7, and this is the 1 chord, and we're staying on the 1 chord for 4 bars. And then we go to the 4 chord, which is the same type of voicing, but it looks different on the fretboard. I play it like this. That would be the same thing as if you took the E7 and moved it up here. But just to make it simpler for us and not have to have the hand move so much horizontally, we're going to just rearrange the fingers and start this voicing now on the D string. And the chord is constructed the same way. It's root, major third, and minor 7th. So this is an A7. Just the next 3 strings below, so to speak, D, G, and B strings. So we stay on that 4 chord for 2 bars, back to the 1 chord for 2 bars. And then on the 9th bar, we go up to the 5 chord. So then we take that A7 and move it up 2 frets, and we have B7. Back to 4 chord for 1 bar, on bar 10. And then for bar 11 and 12, we'll play E7 again. And then it just starts over. So now let's look at the strumming. This is where the magic happens, so to speak. We're basically strumming 8th notes, and the right hand is going up and down. You can practice just going like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and so on. And then you just put your left hand fingers on top of the strings just to get used to that feel. So on the first beat, we don't play any chord, but the right hand is going up and down. So 1 and. We can count it 1 and because it's 8 notes. So 1 and it's muted. So what I'm doing with the left hand is I have my fingers for the chord grip, but I lift them off the strings. So it's called dead notes in Guitar Pro. Muted notes are dead notes. So you can practice getting that E7, and then you just lift off the fingers and let them touch the string still. Use your thumb up here as well to mute the low E string. That way I can actually have a free right hand and I still get the muted, deadened sound. Right? So that's 1 and. What happens next is I hit the chord on the 2. 1 and 2. And then I hang on that chord until the 16th note before the 3rd beat when I play an upstroke. So 1 and 2 and 3. So this is right before the 3rd beat. And that is played with a muted downstroke. So 3rd beat is just like that. Then for the 3 and as well as the 4 and, I hit the chord with an upstroke. And that's 1 bar, and then we just repeat that. So let's do it slowly. And remember that beat 1 of a bar is always muted. And it may help you to count it this way. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's sort of the rhythm that the right hand is doing. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and. So downstroke on 2, upstroke on 2 and, 3 and 4 and. And by the way I see it is that you can play around with how hard you hit those muted notes. I strum down on the dead notes pretty hard on the 3 and the 4. But you could just leave out those downstrokes too. It sounds a little bit cleaner that way, and you may find that easier. I just like that greasy sound of strumming the dead notes. You know, that part. I think it sounds cool and it sounds very rhythmic. So if you don't hit those downstrokes hard, muted, the way I'm doing it, then it sounds like this. All right, a little faster. It's a little harder to keep timing perfect because your hand isn't going as vigorously up and down. Compare that to the way I'm doing it. I think that sounds more rhythmic and it's greasier and dirtier. I think it's cool. Now, one more thing about the muting. I find it's not enough to only use the left hand fingers to deaden the strings as I've shown you. You need to use your right hand as well. And the way I'm doing that is when I do the downstroke muted, the palm of my right hand is deadening the strings as well. It's hard to explain and show this, but see, I'm doing a downstroke with a pick. My left hand is muting the strings, but the palm of my right hand is also going down and getting put on top of the strings. If I move my left hand fingers off the fretboard, you can hear sounds like this. And if I combine the two, muting with the left hand and the right hand, we get that real deadened sound. And I find that's especially important when you play this voicing. And up here. If I didn't use my right hand, I get a lot of noise. So just like that. And of course the thumb is up here on the low E string to try and mute that too. Now in this case, since we're playing E, sometimes it sounds cool to let it ring. You know, like that. But you still need to be able to mute it, because in case you're playing this type of rhythmic groove in a different key than E, well, you won't be able to get away with having the low E string ring then, right?